Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connections. Today, I'm excited to be joined by the lovely Amy Wallace. Hi, Amy.
Hi,
And how are you doing today, Amy?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Oh, it's such a thrill to chat with you. So, I think the first time we probably chatted is I've said a couple times, I sent out a couple things like, people, if you send us something already made, we'll definitely probably put you on the magazine. And I think you were one of the few people that like took it and you sent me something right away and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
bless her." So, and that was
I think I had it was Red Rose. I think I came across
yes.
your beautiful magazine and it was my first single I've ever written and released. And I was like, oh my goodness, let's see what happens,
No, I appreciate it so much. It was awesome. So of course that went up. Your single was beautiful, and we'll talk about that in a bit.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the beginning though, Amy. What was your childhood like? Was it like a house full of music or
Pretty much, yeah. I grew up surrounded by music and different genres for that. So I had classical, and then we had, going back to the swing era. So I've,
oh,
go
nice.
to rock and 80s and like synth and all this stuff. So I was very blessed to have been introduced to this beautiful array of all these wonderful genres and musical tastes and everything. Growing up, with my music, whenever I was with my grandparents, they were in the classical, so that's where I got the beautiful taste of the classical side and being introduced to that and all the amazing artists and singers through that. So it was. I'm definitely very blessed to have had always having music surrounded by me growing up.
Oh, were you always involved in productions too growing up?
Yeah, yeah. So I joined a choir when I really started getting into the idea of being a singer and loving the classical side of it. And I thought joining a choir would be a great way to not only interact with other singers, but to learn how to use the voice and work with other people as well,
Mm.
our fellow artists. So it was definitely a good choice to start there, and then from there I kind of went into some of musical theater, and then just to get more, comfortable being on stage, because that can be quite daunting
Yeah.
sometimes. you know, anxiety. Yeah. So just getting used to being in front of an audience and how to connect the music and the voice and also to the audience as well, especially if you're trying to emote something through the music, how to connect all of that to the audience. And hopefully one person is like, oh, yay. But yeah, I've always been kind of in that realm of classical choir and then musical theater and maybe some. I think I tried some kind of cafes in high school, but they
Oh,
were more
nice.
like rock things. So I was really into Evanescence at the time.
Yes, yes.
I think anyone I've ever spoken to, it's Amy Lee's voice, right? It's just beyond, so I did a couple of her covers, and they were covers, they were not on par with her, she's beyond. so I've always tried to, yeah, keep, anything that I could musical wise in my life, and just to gain the experience.
No, that sounds like a great different number of things. I think that's what young people really should do is just try everything, keep
Yeah,
trying and
yeah.
exploring. So how did you, I know you went and you studied opera. How did you decide to go down that route?
Thank you. Yeah. So it was my grandfather that actually, I was quite young when I kind of, I guess, felt like I had a voice. And he kind of took me under his wing when he was in England or lived in England. He was in a men's choir. So he was kind of able to take me under his wing and kind of start showing me things that he was, taught. And from there, my family would do our best to meet various vocal coaches, anything. A lot of the time it was on very one-off kind of
Mhm.
meet and greets. Of course, this is during the dial-up period, if anybody remembers that. So
Yes.
way before the wonderful technology we have now. So a lot of it, I had to read books. I had to wait, of course, yeah, wait patiently for dial-up to do any research, anything that I could get my hands on to kind of do myself. There was one vocal coach locally that I was seeing, but even at one point she's like, I don't know how to train you, because she's a folk artist and I wanted to do classical opera. She's like, I don't know how to train. So unfortunately, my a lot of my training for many years has just been myself. And you know, whether when I was meeting a vocal coach, you know, doing my best in that hour I had with that, or him or her, to say, okay, how much information can I write down and get from you so I can take that home, adapt it, and, you know, keep going. So there's always a forward momentum, you know. And my time in Italy, that was just a random thing that kind of fell in my lap. I came across the school, I think it was Scuola Italia, that kind of randomly popped up on my computer screen. I'm like, oh, what's this? You know, and I'm so happy I was able to be part of that, because not only did I get to see the culture of Italy and be part of it and be surrounded by, you know, all these amazing artists, you know, William Mazzuzzi, who's a beautiful tenor. You know, I never thought I would get to meet someone like that. And then when he came to a master class, you know, you kind of get a little starstruck. You're like, oh my goodness. You know, so it was an amazing experience to be surrounded by all these beautiful peers and people that you've looked up to, and for them to hear your voice and then get the feedback and say, yes, you're on the right track. You know, there's something so beautiful in those moments, like, okay, you know, I'm doing this right. I'm not going off track, you know. So other than, I guess, Italy, a lot of it has been self-taught, that I've really had to take under my own wing and discipline myself to not lose that momentum, you know, and to keep going, and then making the connections, networking, and meeting anybody I could, to just, you know, pick their brains, what works for you, and then try it myself and say, yeah, that's perfect. That jives with me. Let's keep that, you know. So it's just been an amazing journey, you know, from when I started to where I am now. And I will forever be like fortunate and humbled by the people that I've met and have been able to interact with and learn from. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing because, like you're saying, being self-taught, it requires so much motivation. I feel like, you know, I was very lucky when I was little. I had the teachers every week, and you almost can get kind of lazy where you're like, okay, they'll correct me, right?
Yeah.
And then as an adult, when you have to pay for your own lessons and you can't have them as frequently, you
Yeah.
really take it differently. You know, you
Yeah.
record them, it's a different process for sure. So that's
Yeah.
really awesome. And then that also, you got the validation when you were in Italy. So how about, like you said, networking? I think you also did some local operas to you, right? So tell us a little bit, because I think that's a hard thing for singers, is the networking sometimes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So there was some I guess they were like concerts that would be put on here, and it was basically surrounded by classical opera to kind of celebrate that, because there's not much of it in the little community that I am part of. So I thought it was an amazing opportunity that this little group of people were putting on to kind of keep introducing the classical and the opera side in our community. And it was well received. I believe it's still going. And being part of that really kind of helped my confidence even more.
Mm.
And again, getting to meet people, Elaine Overholt, who has worked in the industry for quite a while. I forget I think she was in the Chicago movie. Is that the one?
Oh, nice.
They did. Yeah, it was Chicago with Renee Zellweger, I believe. Yeah. So she helped their singing, or was like their vocal coach. So it's getting to meet all these amazing people, like I was saying before, and then say, can I just have like an hour of your time, and please, can I pick that amazing brain of yours, and can you make sure I'm not, saying things or correcting things, bad habits or anything, right? Because, you can sometimes pick up little things that might not be or work for you anymore, right? So it's always finding ways, okay, what can I learn now? And I think that's the great thing about being a musician, whether you're a composer, or a vocalist, anything in music, you you can just constantly learn.
Mm.
It's never ending. And I think that's exciting, that there's never an end. There's never that, okay, you're done. No, it's just keep going, like what's next, what's around the corner, and I think that's what drives us as musicians, to just see what is around that corner, and then what's going to be around that corner, and where is that going to lead, like, so it's really amazing on the networking side, where it just is going to lead you, and the not knowing, I think, is also really exciting too, to kind of not know where it's going to take you, because you might be on one path, and then something happens, and an experience, and then that makes a fork, and then you gotta get to choose, like, ooh, which one? Which path am I gonna go? So I find it so exciting to be part of this community, and the people that I have met, especially in the past year. When I released Red Rose, everything just kind of catapulted in this amazing direction, and it's almost been nonstop. And I mean, I don't want to get off, I want to keep going. It's like a fun roller coaster ride, because and even in the past few months, I think this is the most music I've ever produced on a recording side. So even that itself has been an amazing learning curve, to learn how to record your vocals. And because even that, like, wow, that is a whole area to try and
Oh
understand.
yeah.
Like, how do you record your vocals, make sure that they're clean, there's no hissing or popping sounds, or the popping from your mouth making noises. It's like, okay, totally new avenue from singing live, like, it's just, but that's the great thing. There's all these different avenues that as artists we can just keep going, and seeing where it leads. And I do someone asked me, what the important thing, or one of the important things is, and I will always say networking and supporting other artists is probably the biggest thing I could continue to share. I think being able to be open and see the beauty in what other artists are doing, and just, live in that moment with them, is so beautiful to me. Because when you see an artist, just like, when they're in their element, it's like the most beautiful thing to see how happy they are. Say, look what I created. Like, I did that. And it's like, yeah, like, that is amazing. Keep going, So I think it's really important, the networking, but also to support your peers around you, and to not lose sight of that. Yeah.
No, I love that you said that, because I feel like that's something everyone needs to do more of. Like
Yeah.
networking, I guess maybe that's why we don't like the idea of it at first, where sometimes it's like, well, I'm asking for something, but you're also giving something as well.
Yeah.
So if you do both, that give and take, it can be so rewarding. So I'm glad you
Oh,
said that about supporting other artists.
yeah, definitely.
So, Amy, you mentioned, that difference. So when did you first start recording? Because I was Googling you, doing some search, trying to do my background research, and I found something about maybe an album you did way back. Maybe it was a classical album, but I've never heard it online. So tell us when your recording journey actually started.
Yeah, for sure. So I did a test album, I guess. It was called Classics and Arias, and it's just my voice and piano. And of course, I never knew how to, because the other thing with music is the business side of it, and even that is a whole area that I still do not understand.
Me too.
Wow. And so at the time I was very young. it was a goal that I had in mind, and I achieved it. And I guess for me, what it's one of those situations like what I know now, I should have known then. But
But that's how we learn.
is understanding more of the business side, more of how to market. And unfortunately, the album, it was beautiful and simple. And I think it's on iTunes, but I didn't know how to, I wasn't part of a DistroKid or Reverb Nation, like these distribution companies. So I knew nothing about that. So that was kind of my first introduction to the business side of it. I thought, okay, so I need to take some time to learn that as well now, and kind of incorporate, that into to my music, so that as I continue on to see where my path is going to take me, I'll have a better respect and understanding how to market myself and connect, like we're saying, and network to people around me, and kind of get it into their ears and say, oh, I like her. Yeah, see where it goes. So recently, when I it was during the pandemic, so COVID, when I really shifted my my sights more into the recording side.
Mm-hmm.
And within that, I I really found a new way of singing, and it actually gave me the opportunity to span into different genres, like the soundtracks that I've always wanted to do. Or I think I've tried some EDM and things like that. Like, it's all these cool little things, and so it's been really interesting to kind of see the recording and what goes into it, and what I have to provide as well, and the equipment as well, doing the research for what proper equipment, what is, in your price limit, of course, what is going to help me right now, so that I can continue to get music out there, and get feedback, so you can keep continuing to grow as an artist, and at the same time learning how to market, saying, oh, that works, so let's keep doing that, or that didn't work, so we're just gonna so, yeah, it's been very interesting, for sure, to see the business side of it. Yeah.
No, I think I'm glad that you mentioned that as well, because we tend to see artists and they have this fantastic album and we don't see what came before it, right? And we're just like, oh, how can I ever like start? But it really takes a lot of practice, like you're saying. So each time you record, you're learning something new. I know I am. It's a constant learning journey. So tell us, for Red Rose, that's the first song I remember hearing from you. It's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
Very reminiscent of Evanescence, and I can't say that word. Uh, but of Amy Lee Wood. The first time I heard it, I was like, this is in the vein of like My Immortal, and I loved it. So can you tell us a little bit about the story of Red Rose, and also recording that?
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. So funny enough, the melody of it I had for a long time, and I had a rough idea of the lyrics, and it was actually going to be a love song. And I kept putting it off and putting it off, because I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And I was still learning, okay, how do I get it out there? And then recently, so many years kind of passed. And then unfortunately, I lost two close friends of mine. And within that came these new lyrics of a dedication to them. So it's almost like it was it was meant for them. And I was waiting for the moment to get to share the love that they gave me through the lyrics, that I could share that, and express what their friendship meant to me through the music. So it became a very loving dedication to these beautiful people. And I'm grateful that it received such a beautiful response from people, because it was again, it was right before COVID and everything, I believe, right at the beginning of the year. And I thought, hopefully through my lyrics, maybe it will touch somebody else as well who might have lost somebody, whether it was with the pandemic or anything else, you know. So it was something that I thought hopefully we all could connect with, whether through the lyrics or the melody or something. So it became a very special single, my first single that I'm very grateful for, and I will forever miss my friends. That I can, anytime I hear it, I can think of them.
That's the thing is and in this case it's even more unique because it's your song, but it's like sometimes a song is so associated with that person. That's the beauty of music. It's just like you have that experience with them every
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
after Red Rose, which was very personal and everything, you mentioned starting to go into soundtracks. So how did that start? Because I know a lot of people have interest in that and they have no idea where to begin with that.
Yeah. So I have an amazing friend who's a vocalist as well. And I've always had like a list of songs that I would hear, or I like to play games as well. So if I'm playing a game and I hear a song and like, ooh, and I'll write it down, or I'll look up the name and then write it down, and as a question mark, like, maybe. So once I started getting more comfortable with the recording side, I kind of pulled out that list again. I thought, okay, what would be a good one to kind of get out of the racetrack with, and just write in. And I believe it was World of Warcraft, that I first came out with, I believe. Might have been that one or the Guild Wars, because I did Guild Wars too, Fear Not This Night. So I'm not too sure which I forget.
That's okay.
Warcraft. So I used to play, and I loved the music in the Night Elves. And when I came across the Night Song, I thought it's such a beautiful classical crossover. And I love that the game, the World of Warcraft game, use a lot of classical kind of influence. It's quite beautiful. So it was definitely a large undertaking. For my first one. I think if I remember, if my friend sees this, who helped me mix and master it, he's a sound engineer, and thank God for him, because I had no idea what I was doing. So he made me sound like I was a professional, but I was like still in diapers pretty much. But I think there was maybe 6 or 7 vocal stems to create the layers. And then when I was listening to the original, there were certain extra little things I would hear. So anytime I try to do a soundtrack, I would always try to make it my own, whether it was adding something or like an extra little embellishment right there. So it just gave a new kind of listen for anybody who was listening, like, oh, what was that, something new, a little tidbit, something new. So yeah, the World of Warcraft Night Song was probably the biggest and right out of the gate. And I did the music video for it as well, and put it all together, and then I put it on YouTube, and then that kind of just, gave me the kickstart to keep going. I thought, okay, you test the waters and you think, okay, well, how are people going to respond to it and everything? And I had a beautiful response, and I thought, okay, let's go in this direction. Let's see where it leads,
And but that's the thing to do, is just try it out, and then you enjoyed it. You found you enjoyed it, and that's, like you're mentioning, a lot of complexity with all those layers.
Yeah.
So,
But it's a good challenge, right? And I think that's also important for vocalists, is never be afraid to try something, even if you're afraid that it's been done so many times. I have an amazing, I got to meet a soprano. I got to see her show, and she was so lovely, and she met with me afterwards, and I was telling her my story, how do I begin, like just your typical vocalist questions, how do I get on the in,
yeah.
and I said, I'm always afraid to do a lot of songs that have been done. And she looked at me and said, you know, everything has been said or sung, but not by you.
Ooh,
And that really struck a chord with me because it made me, and I always share that with anybody because,
I like that.
right, it's so beautiful because whether, no matter what you are or what you do or bring to the table in this musical field, you are unique. You are no one is going to be like you. You know, you could have two composers in the room and they could listen to the same track, but they're going to think differently. They're going to hear things differently, you know. So I think that's so important that it doesn't matter how many times Assassin's Creed has been done. We're all going to bring something different, unique, and new and fresh to the table, you know. So never be afraid to do your favorite songs, to try something new, and just completely delve and jump right in, you know, the deep end, and like you were saying, just to see where it does take you, you know, because that's the exciting part. You never know. And it would be horrible to miss an opportunity just because you might have been afraid or unsure that, oh, that's been done, right? So it's like, no, it doesn't matter. Go. Just go.
I really love that, Amy, because we do talk a lot about like the importance of new music, and I fully believe that. But if you kind of look back to like, which is my time period, like the 40s, 50s, they're all doing the same songs, but
Yeah,
they're doing it differently. Each one
yeah,
is doing their interpretation, like
yeah.
interpretive songs. There's a place and an important place, I feel like, for that as well. So I love that you said that. So then you just kept going, right? And how did you start finding people to collaborate with?
Yeah, so it kind of, I think I'm trying to remember how I kind of found my group because you try to remember these things like how did I come across? I think it's just randomly somebody messaged, or it was hey, I like your song, and then from there it was like this little community built. So from that we have this I have a really beautiful network of friends who I consider my friends now, who are composers and vocalists, and they're just absolutely amazing and so talented. And we all kind of have this beautiful connection where we share each other's music and we give feedback, and you know, it's, I think, having that trust that you can
Mm.
have in people, and knowing that, you know, they will give you your honest opinion, but it will always be from the, like, knowing that, you know, you can do better. I know you know, it's that kind of heart behind it, you know, that we have in this little community. Um, and it's ever expanding, you know, and the more that you do get to meet the people who, you know, behind the voice, behind the music, you know, like, you know, and I think the more we do connect with each other and the more we support each other, you know, our music is just going to get that, you know, well, if it can get that much better because it's already amazing. You know, like just knowing that there are people who genuinely want to see you succeed and have that love behind it, you know, I think that will always drive any artist, and I'm definitely very fortunate.
Oh, for sure. I think that's so crucial too, is finding your people, taking the time to experiment, kind of build that circle.
Yeah.
So now you have your group, you kind of have an idea which sound to go in. So you've been featured on a lot of different projects. You've done some singles yourself. I feel like it's just gonna keep going. So tell us about Sync. So Sync.
Yes. So my good friend Ray, and I sent him his information because he's so amazing. He's doing so much right now, and he's working hard. And he, bless his heart, he approached me and he said, you know, I'd love to do an album, and I wanted to, you know, it's a little something different than what he's used to doing, and it's like an ambient, you know, kind of emerged sea kind of thing. And I thought, okay, let's do it, you know, yeah, you know, let's make this happen for you, you know. And so we chatted, we kind of brainstormed the ideas and the tracks, and he wrote all the beautiful music on the album. And then he kind of, which I thought was so beautiful of him, he just gave me the freedom to express, to listen to the track and then just express myself, how what where I was feeling the track was going, and to kind of use my voice to complement what he might have been wanting to emote through that. So we had a really lovely relationship in that album, I think, and it's been getting wonderful responses, and I'm so happy for him, because I know that meant a lot for him to try and to see, because like I was saying, it was new for him too, right? And now he's just doing all these amazing epic sounds and everything now. But it was just an amazing experience to say that, it's just another thing to say I got to be part of that, and I'm so humbled by that, and I think that's my my friends, or anybody that I talk to say, you're very humble. I said I can't help it. I'm not used to it. For me, it's been such a blessed feeling, that all of this, whether it was the Sync album or working with other amazing artists, that they recognized something in me and wanted to give me this opportunity, and I mean, for that, I will always be humbled, and grateful, so. But yeah, Ray's definitely one of those up and coming composers that is gonna go far, very far.
Yeah, the Angel's Lament track is so gorgeous. And it sounded very, going back to, you said you started in a choir. It sounds very choral with all those layers.
Yeah,
And those were all
yeah,
you're saying, because he gave you the freedom. So you were just,
yeah,
that's,
yeah. That one really, when I first heard it, and it just started kind of coming naturally out of me. And then when you start putting the layers in, you start hearing it all come together. And I thought, okay, yeah, I like where this is going. And actually, there's been a couple times now I've fallen asleep to it. And I mean that in the best way. And oh, this is actually really soothing. So I think we were going to call it something to do with like a siren, but I thought it's kind of reminded me more of like an angel's lament. And I thought, can we, so we chatted about changing the title. And of course, Ray's always so open, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, all right. So kind of gave off more that feeling like, something you would hear when you close your eyes, and you hear an angel, crying and wanting, like a lament. I guess that's why we called it that. So yeah, I love that track so much. So that one really is close for me.
well, it is absolutely gorgeous, Amy.
You.
So tell me, what else do you want to do? You want to continue going in soundtracks? Do you want to do some solo albums? Like, do you have any ideas for what's coming up for you the next year?
So I'm having an amazing time right now working with all these amazing artists that I have in this little community, and meeting more who would like to work with me. So right now it's kind of like whatever comes at me, let's try it. So I'm working right now with an amazing so with Ray, and then I'm working with Alex Morph, who's more of like a house kind of techno. Oh, I hope I just said that right. Alex will tell me otherwise. He's an amazing artist, and so he came and said, "You want to try some?" I'm like, yeah. Genre. So I'm working with him, and then there's this other beautiful composer, Fabian. Oh, I'm gonna say his name, Vesterna. Sorry, Fabian. But another amazing artist. And then I just came out with one recently with a NARS called Dream. or Dreams, sorry. So that was the most recent that I did with him. And then I've tried kind of like I want to say call it like an EDM track, which is also on my Instagram. So it's kind of I don't know if I really have a pinpoint of what I want to keep moving forward with. It's kind of just, let's see what keeps coming towards me, and let's keep trying it, and seeing where it just leads, and like we were saying, supporting other artists and working with other artists, and networking. I think really in my heart, I really love the soundtrack side of it. When I did I've always wanted to do the Gladiator one, Now We Are Free.
Ooh, yes.
And and so I kind of see myself wanting to maybe eventually move back in towards that a bit more, or explore it more, and kind of see where that might lead me. But yeah, for now, it's just kind of open door. Let's see who walks in, and welcome them, and let's chat, and see if we can work something out.
And that's how some of the best things happen, right? It's just like kind of it's just there, and you take the opportunity.
Oh, and it's always trial and error, right? You could have a composer, or a producer could walk in and say, "Oh, I love your voice. Let's try this," and it might not work out,
Yeah.
and that's okay, because at least you're trying, and at least you're meeting people, and it doesn't mean you're a bad singer or anything like that. It's just, yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and you just got to be grateful that at least you had the opportunity, and just keep moving forward.
And it's just as important in a way to make those kinds of things that don't work out, to learn something about yourself, and maybe even take a piece from that into something else that does work.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
no failed experiences, they all help. So that's wonderful.
So far.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's some, but for the main part. Well, Amy, what is yeah. What is the best way that people can support you, Amy? Do you have a Patreon? Is it through social media?
Yeah, so far right now, it is just social media. I've had a few people mention Patreon, but I feel like I'm not at that point yet in my career at the moment. But so yeah, social media is the best way. I do have a goal to, for YouTube to reach 500. I think I'm at 383. So thank you, everybody. So probably my YouTube channel, which is, I always try to post something monthly, and always welcome to feedback, so I can keep growing as an artist there. And then of course my Instagram and Spotify as well. Yeah.
So everyone go help her to get to 500. I don't know what it is with YouTube, Amy. I don't know. I just find it so slow to grow. Now we finally got to 1,000. I'm so happy, but it took a long time. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a gradual incline, and I know that a lot of artists, can feel a bit down by that. And I said, no, don't look at the numbers, because that'll make you love the journey.
Yes.
Just focus on the journey, and when those numbers get to your goal, whenever that may be, that's when you can celebrate. But within the moments that you have now, celebrate each day with the experiences that you're having and the people that you are meeting, because for me that is the biggest thing to always celebrate than those numbers.
Yes. I love that. Well, Amy, you have just been the most genuine delight to chat with. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.